Hi everyone, this is a walkthrough video for the income and expense tracker for freelancers. If you have not purchased this template, I will leave links in the description box so you can go ahead and grab your copy. When you buy this template, the first tab you would see is the instructions tab. Here you can find my contact information as well as a detailed step-by-step guide that can help you get started with your template. Before I show you how to use this template, I want to show you what the template looks like when you get it. So in the setup tab, it will come pre-filled with placeholders. You can go ahead and delete them, and I'll show you how to do that when we get into the demo copy. And the monthly summary would be blank. The annual summary dashboard and the multi-year summary dashboard will be blank. When you start putting in information, these tabs will come to life. Here is where you'll put in information. As you can see, these tabs are blank as well. It does come with 10 tabs, one for each year, and these years can be changed to match what years you want to use the template for. Let's switch over to the demo copy so I can show you exactly how it works. All right, so we are in the demo copy of the template, and like I said before, the first tab after the instructions tab is the setup tab. It does come ready to work from 2024 all the way to 2033, and you can see the tabs labeled 2024 all the way to 2033. However, if you do want to use this template for different years, so let's say you've purchased this in 2025 and that's when you want to start tracking your income and expenses, that's not a problem. All you need to do is to change the years here. So go ahead and just delete this, type 2025 and then 2026. After doing these two things, you want to drag both of them and then just pull them all the way down. And now we have 10 consecutive years starting from 2025. In addition to doing this, we need to make sure that the years we have here match these tabs we have over here. Now we have 2034, which is a new tab, and we have 2024, which is an old tab. So what we can do is just swap these two tabs, and now we can rename the tab 2034. To do this, double click on the tab and just type the year 2034 and hit enter. If we go back here, now we have each tab represented here, and you can just drag this over to the end. And now we have our first tab, which is 2025, matching the first year here. All right, so back to where we started. After you've edited the year, now you enter your cash flow goals. Now these are the goals that you expect to have at the end of the year based on your expected revenue and your expected cost. So let's say you make 100,000 of revenue and you expect to spend 20,000, then for 2024 your cash flow would be 100,000. Do the math for your specific situation and then put in your goals. This would be helpful later on in your dashboard when you're looking at your actual profit or your actual cash flow and comparing it to what you projected your cash flow is going to be. The next part of the setup tab is your categories. We have two categories, your income category and your expense categories. Under these, we have subcategories, and for each of them, we have 5. So 5 income subcategories. So for example, your client services, if you do client work, if you sell digital products, affiliate marketing, etc. Type in the categories that you earn income from, and then you can type in the specifics under that category. That way, when you're reviewing your data over months and years, you can see what product is bringing you the most money and what product is bringing you the least amount of revenue. Do the same for your expenses. First, we started with the main categories and your subcategories. So software and tools, you can have things like Canva Pro subscription, Notion subscription, Zoom, etc. Okay. And if you want to extend this, it is possible, but the template would need to be adjusted, and just send me a message and we can talk about how we can get that done. But with the way it's set up now, you have 50 slots for income and 50 slots for expenses, which should cover the majority of income and expense categories and subcategories. After the setup tab, we have 3 dashboards. We have the monthly summary, annual dashboard, and the multi-year summary. We're going to skip those and go straight to the first year tab. And you need to put in information here first for the dashboard to be activated. So right now the dashboard does have data because I already entered data into these tabs. When you get yours, this will be blank like I showed you earlier. All right, when we get to this tab, you can see that this 2024 year matches the name 2024. You have to make sure they match. You don't have to touch the information here because once you set it up in the setup tab, it will change automatically here. The only place you have to change it would be here, like I showed you earlier. The goal also shows up here automatically, which is the goal that we put into the setup area. And right here, we have the cash flow. And what this is, it is comparing your actual cash flow based on your income and your expenses for the year with your goal. And it shows you the percent. So based on this year's income and expenses, we are 93% at our goal. Let's move over to 2030. So 2030 is a blank year, and I could show you what it looks like and how it changes when we start to put in information. The first thing you want to do is just choose your subcategory. If you've already set it up in your setup tab, it would be as easy as clicking this and selecting, or if you have a long list, you can just type. So let's say Canva, for example. So I have Canva templates, I just select that. And as you can see, it pulls in the category automatically. So let's say for my Canva templates in January, I earned $500. So just type in 500. By the way, in this demo copy, I am using the dollar version. However, it does come with multiple different currencies. And if you can't find your currency, just let me know and I'll be happy to create one for you. Moving on to February, let's say for February, we earned $450. And let's add another source of income. Let's say we also sell Notion templates. All right. And for that, we're only making $50. And let's say in February, we made $75. All right. Now to client work. So just scroll. And by the way, like I said before, you can type. Okay. So let's say for your retainer client, you have $750. Okay. And let's give this $750 here. And let's say, for example, you notice that, oh, I don't want this under this category. This is the wrong category. Don't try to change it here. This has formulas that's pulling in that information from your setup tab. Go back to the setup tab. So we'll go back there and let's see under subscriptions, it says retainer clients. So let's say, oh, I don't want this here. I want it under client services. So now we're going to just copy that and paste that here. If you find something like this happening where it changes the font style and the formatting, just go ahead and click on one that has the correct formatting. So any of these would be fine. Click on this paint form and just click on that, and then it will change it back to the correct format. So now that we have two of this, you don't want that. We want to delete one of them. Okay, so just delete this and just rearrange the template. Okay, so now we've put that under client services. And if we go back to 2030, you can see that now it shows up under client services, which is the correct category. Once you add these categories here, you don't have to do it every single month. Enter the total amount for each and then you're good to go. Let's do some expenses. So it's exactly the same. We're going to select an expense. So let's say this is $39 a month, Canva, $12.99. Notion, $9.99. These costs tend to be the same for many of them every month. What's nice about this is that you can just select the amount. Okay, now we're going to copy this. I'm using shortcut keys, but you can always right click on copy. Now you can paste by using your shortcut key, but how I like to paste in this template, especially if you're not sure if it's going to change the formatting, is to right click and paste special and do values only. That way it's not going to grab the formatting from this end and place it over here. So it keeps everything nice and clean the way it's supposed to. So now we have the exact same amount shown up here. When you have repetitive subcategories, whether it's in your income or your expenses, you can just go ahead, copy it from month to month, which saves you time. And that is all you have to do to update your templates. That is it. So at the end of the month, adding your totals and everything else calculates automatically. You can see the top area here. This is a mini dashboard. You can see what your total income is, total expenses, your cash flow, which is the difference between the two, your average monthly income, and your average monthly expense. And now if we go over here, we can see a quick summary of the categories, and the subcategories are listed here. The amounts for the entire year and the percentages. You can also see the same for your expenses, organized by category and subcategory, the amount and the percentages. Now let's go to the monthly tab and see what it's like. In the monthly tab, you can select a month and a year. Because this template works with multiple different years, you have to specify the year as well as the month. So we're going to change this to what we just entered, which is in 2030. And as you can see, we have a mini dashboard here as well with some summary data, income, expenses, cash flow. Over here, if you're a visual person, this would be very helpful because you can see the income, expense, and cash flow. And this also gives you the distribution, but it limits it to the top 20. So you can see the subcategories, the amounts for that month, and the percentage. So very similar to what you would see in the individual yearly tabs, but this is specifically for the month of January. So if I change this to February, you can see that these numbers change as well. Let's go to 2024. Looking at this 2024 tab, you can see that it's fully filled out. So when we go to the monthly summary and we select January, you can see what the template looks like. So we have more information here. This is a summary for the month of January, your income sources, the amounts, the percentages, your expense sources, and the graphs that represents these tables are both here. And then down here, we have pie charts that show you the distribution of subcategories. Okay, so if you prefer to see things in a table sorted from the highest to the lowest, you can see it here. If you would like to see it in form of a graph, you have the option to do so here as well. And then right here at the end, we have set our goal for the year at 120,000. And for the month of January, we are at 6.9% of that goal. And then by the time I got all the way to December, you can see we are at 93.3% of our goal. That way, every single month, you can keep track of your cash flow relative to your yearly goal. The next tab is the annual summary tab. In this tab, you can view the data based on the year selected. Let's change this to 2020. And as you can see, the cash flow progress is exactly what it was in the monthly summary. Up here, we have some totals like we have in all of the tabs in this template. And then moving down here, you can see we have income breakdown. Again, this is cumulative. Expense category breakdown, also cumulative for the year selected. Monthly income, so you can see the trend of your monthly income for the entire year, as well as the trend of your monthly expense for the year. The last is the multi-year summary, and this takes all of the yearly information and puts it in one tab. Here we also have a dashboard, but now we're talking about your cumulative income over 10 years, your expenses, your cash flow, expense to income ratio, and your average annual cash flow. The next table here is your cash flow over time. You can compare your cash flow from one year to another, and you can see the difference. So if it's going up or if it's going down. The next area is top income source over time. So in 2024, our top income source was web design, but in 2029, it changed to client acquisition. And similarly for the expense categories, you can see the top expense for 2024 was Google Ads. In 2026, it was business insurance, and it changed in 2030 to something else. So now you can keep track of your top income sources, your top expenses, and then use that information to make strategic business decisions. All right, so then the first graph we have here is your income, expense, and cash flow over time. So here we have the different years, and you can see the trend of income, expense, and cash flow. The next graph shows goal cash flow versus your actual cash flow. The line graph shows your goal, and then the bars are your actual cash flow. If the bars are underneath the line, basically you are underneath your goal, and if they cross the line, you are above your goal. The last area shows your visual representation of your income, expense, and cash flow over time. You can see your expense trends over time, and finally your cash flow over time. And the last area here shows highest income was in 2027 and lowest income was in 2030. And of course, 2030 is low because we put in entries for only 2 months. Finally, here we have our income subcategory chart, cumulative over several years, and your expense subcategory chart over several years. This gives you a better understanding of what's bringing you money and where you're spending money. That way you can make informed decisions about your business. That brings me to the end of this walkthrough video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. If you need to reach out to me, you can find my contact information right here. And finally, if you have not purchased this template, I'll leave links so you can go ahead and grab your copy. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.